Assalamu alaikum. I'm Aisha Rosalie. I'm a British convert to Islam, and like me, like millions of people, I have been pained and still am by what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. I'm further saddened by the extent of media misinformation happening now and how the media can make you believe that the victim is the criminal.
In that collaboration with my dear friend Aisha from UK, we decided to send a message to the world to prove that Israel is a state of evil and racism, and Palestine should and it will be free like any other nation across the globe. So please hit that like button and share the video with everyone you know so our voice can be widely heard.
No one can believe in goodness and peace while at the same time believing in what is called Israel's right to defend itself. Israel, the state described by Human Rights Watch as an apartheid state. Everything I've studied, heard and read about the repugnant racism that was happening in South Africa, you can now imagine it happening doubly in occupied Palestine.
With the continuous bloody bombing that Gaza is being subjected to, Israel is still lying to people in a humiliating and dirty manner. I never advise you to watch the photos. Actually, it's painful as hell. Children are writing their names on their hands in case they died under an airstrike. Why? To make it easy for other people to identify their bodies. How the world reached that level of barbarism? You might say that the one who started all that is Hamas, and they beheaded 40 Israeli babies. So Israel has the right to respond. Dear friend, 40 beheaded babies is a big damn lie. CNN, who spreaded the news, alongside with many other international channels, journals, they admit that it's a lie and they apologize. Even the White House admitted that Joe Biden, the US president, never saw the pictures. Evil propaganda. And it's similar to Nazi propaganda during the World War, when they were calling Jews as rats to make their death accepted by other people. Lies continues to influence you, to deceive you, to make you believe that the greatest evil in the world now is Hamas, while Israel is nothing but a nice country who trying to protect its citizens. Actually, you are being subjected to the most greatest brainwashing operation in the modern history.
How can a state that possesses nuclear weapons and one of the most powerful armies in the world, with a Jewish lobby extending to every country and billions of dollars in aid, still have the audacity to say Israel has the right to defend itself? Defend itself against whom? Against an unarmed, defenseless people who don't have tanks, aircrafts, or even a regular army? Are people trying to protect what remains of their land, which was stolen through the ill-fated Balfour Declaration, in which Britain gave Palestine to the Zionists in one of the strangest agreements in history? Who's defending themselves? A child holding stones or a soldier operating a tank? Who's defending themselves? A woman with no weapons, protection or military gear? Or a combatant equipped with all kinds of weapons and protective gear?
As a Christian, you might sympathize with Israel for two specific reasons. The first is the injustice that faced Jews in Europe. Second, religious reason. Throughout their history, Jews have never suffered any persecution under Islamic State. Matter of fact, history doesn't record any Holocaust committed against Jews in an Islamic State. Muslims and Jews and Christians lived together side by side for hundreds of years. More than that, many historical sources quoted that the golden age of Jews was under the Moroccan Islamic rule in Andalus for more than 800 years. In contrast, Europe, which supposed to be Christian, was a repeated hell for Jews, and the Holocaust is a pure evidence for that.
The second reason is mentioned in the Old Testament of the Holy Scriptures, which states that God gave the land of Palestine to the Jews, making it their inheritance. This is despite the fact that Zionists and settlers in Israel showed disrespect to Christian worshippers in Jerusalem. Israel, 2 weeks ago, shelled a church and killed Muslim and Christian worshippers inside. The list goes on and on. You may need to reconsider your humanitarian beliefs.
القصير والسكر شو قاعد تسوي
It's no longer a religious matter as much as it is a humanitarian one. Israel now considered as the only ongoing occupation in the world, recognized by the UN as well as the international law. This occupation has persisted for more than 75 years. Can you imagine that? Being under apartheid for 75 years. Close your eyes and just imagine it. If you couldn't, how you can accept it for Palestinians? What happened on October the 7th is nothing but a reaction on crimes, massacres, continuous killing, kidnapping, and racism that is ongoing for 75 years. You can't imprison a lion, deprive it of food, humiliate and degrade it, then expect it to behave gently toward you. No, if that lion given the opportunity, you will become a luxury dinner, which is a natural reaction, and no one will be blamed but you.
In the meantime, all your conversations and arguments will be built on Hamas, which is what the media is currently focusing on to manipulate people's minds. Well, did you know that Hamas has only been around for the past 26 years? Probably didn't tell you this, right? So what was the reason for the killing and occupation of Palestinians before the emergence of Hamas? Did you know that there is an area in Palestine called the West Bank where there is no Hamas or even armed resistance, yet every year Israel kills dozens of Palestinians there? What's the justification before Hamas even existed? This is what was happening in Palestine. Listen.
תפסנו הרבה ערבים, אספנו אותם. קומו, הם קמו. הרג את כולם.
הכפר נמחק.
שאכן אמרו שהיה טבח.
What happened here wasn't only pushing away the Palestinians from their village. What happened here is that they did not let the Palestinians go away just like this. They first of all killed many of them, and there was not any reason to do it.
או אני או הם. מדינה לוקחים עם חרב. המדינה מתשווה.
כמה אתה חושב אנשים הרגת ככה?
לא ספרתי. לא יכול לדעת בחיי. היה לי מקלע עם 250 כדורים. ואני תראה, יריתי, נלחמתי כולם, לא יכול לספור. הרגנו בהם, בלי נקיפת מצפון.
מצב נוראי, התעללו בהם ולקחו להם את איברי המין ותקעו להם בפיות. אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. היו חבר'ה שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם. זה היה משהו זוועתי וזה אסור לספר, אני לא אדבר על זה, כי זה יכול להיות סקנדל שלם מהעניין הזה.
It's not necessary for you to be a Muslim or Christian or Jew to support Palestine. It just required from you to be a pure human, being able of distinguishing truth from falsehood, aggressor from the victim. Palestine is a criterion in which a person's true face appears. If they tell you that Palestine-Israel conflict is a Muslim-Jew conflict, actually they lie to you. I will show you a video by the Sheikh Yassin, the founder of the P.a.l.e.s.t.i.n.e, the military wing of Hamas, who by the way was assassinated by Israel strike in the morning while he was going to the mosque on his wheelchair.
مش اكتر من حقنا. احنا ما بنكره اليهود وبنقاتل اليهود لانهم يهود. اليهود اهل دين واحنا اهل دين. احنا بنحب كل اهل الاديان. اخويا هذا اللي من امي وابويا اللي دينه مسلم اذا اخذ بيتي وطردني منه انا بقاتل اخويا. بقاتل ابن عمي اذا اخذ ارضي وبيتي وطردني. فلما اليهودي ياخذ ارضي وبيتي وطردني منها كمان أنا مستعد أقاتل. أنا ما بقاتل أمريكا ولا بريطانيا ولا دول أخرى. أنا كل الناس معهم بالسلام. بحب كل الناس وبحب الخير لكل الناس. كمان بحب الخير لليهود. واليهود عاشوا معنا طول حياتهم، عمرنا ما اعتدينا عليهم. وعمرنا ما أسأنا لهم يعني وصلوا إلى مراتب عليا من الوزارات والحكم والأغنى. مين اللي بيعتدي عليهم؟ لكن هم لما ياخذوا أرضي وبطني وبيتي وتشردوني منه. أنا عندي 4 مليون فلسطيني مشرد في الخارج. مين حق تروح لوطنه واللي جاي من روسيا اللي له 2000 سنة مبعد عنها ولا اللي له 40 سنة طالع منها؟ مين حق أن يعود هنا؟ إحنا ما بنكره اليهود لكن بنقول لليهود أعطونا حقنا.
You cannot support Ukraine and stand against Palestine at the same time unless you are suffering from severe cognitive dissonance. These choices cannot coexist in a person with awareness and a living conscience. Even Jews around the world are beginning to see the truth. It's becoming clear to them that Israel is killing and annihilating an entire people in their name. It's become apparent that Israel was created to kill, not to endure, as it's often said. It was created with blood and continues with blood, not with peace and coexistence. Jews in America just a week ago held protests in New York to tell the world not to kill in our name.
In an open-air prison where 2.2 million people live, almost half of whom are children, they are now without food and water and electricity and fuel, and they are being bombed. They are being rained down on with white phosphorus. As Jewish New Yorkers, we are here to say, not in our names! Not in our names! Not in our name! Not in our name! Not in our name! Not in our name!
We are responsible for what we say, for our actions. We are all responsible if we don't even try to enlighten the global public opinion, especially about what's happening now in Gaza. Exactly how I and Aisha are doing now, with the recent massacre of Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital a week ago. Global support for Israel has crumbled. Israel and its supporters and lobby are spending now millions of dollars on social media advertisements just to convince people of their narrative.
In one of the statistics published by Ben Shapiro, the most prominent pro-Israel Zionist media figure, he said that the youth in Britain are showing more empathy towards Palestine. Meanwhile, the older generation, the fathers, the grandfathers, make up the majority supporting Israel in British society. This reveals one thing. The generation that grew up watching television and reading newspapers, in other words, the guided media, stands by Israel. By the way, this generation is now in the late stages of their lives. On the other hand, the new generation, the internet, social media generation who have access to open information are the most supportive of Palestine. They've discovered the truth that was concealed from their fathers and grandfathers for many years.
It indicates that the new generation in Britain, which represent the future, has turned away from supporting Israel to support the truth, the right, Palestine. They turned away from evil to good. The global data now terrifies them. Therefore, no matter how long it takes, the truth will prevail and the history will be written on whichever side you stand on. Share this video the maximum you can. And don't forget to join Aisha's channel and join her fundraising campaign for Gaza.